And so I decided to drive the city along, drag the city along we have a mantra in our house called winter, where we live by, we try to live by water, we intermittently fast, we try to have nutrition on a daily basis and eat certain things that we should. We try to say no to things that we shouldn't as much as possible. You know, those fried foods and too much sugar, we try to do those in moderation. Exercise and rest. So the mantra is winter, and we take that and we infuse it into the Mayor's Fitness Initiative, which has been wildly successful. It's sold out every year with 125 to 150 of Daytona Beach residents, where we partner twice a week with our residents and fitness experts to work out in community centers, walk the bridge, go to One Daytona, use their fitness equipment. We oftentimes go to Advent, walk their trail, and basically show folks what they can do in Daytona Beach to exercise without having to pay. There's so many positive venues to work out in and to feel good about. And so every year is sold out, and such that our residents are asking us to do it twice a year. Yeah.
And there's another great program that the city offers, and it's called Citizens Academy. Kind of share with those who may not be familiar with Citizens Academy what that's all about.
It's one of the best aspects of our community, to be honest with you. Because when you live in a community, oftentimes you know that there's a lot going on, but you don't know exactly how much. You don't know how much city government is really operating to make Daytona Beach what I refer to as a great American destination. So Betty Goodman, one of my favorite city employees, assistant city manager, facilitates an opportunity for residents to get to know the various departments in Daytona Beach. Fire department, police department, wastewater, communications, all of the departments in Daytona Beach, the city manager's office. And you see what they do to make Daytona Beach Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the April 3rd, 2024 business meeting of the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, our CRA. We're delighted to have each of you with us. At this time, I would ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Commissioner Strickland? Here. Commissioner May? Here. Commissioner Cantu? Here. Commissioner Henry?
Present.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Chair Derek L. Henry.
Here. We will now have the invocation led by Commissioner May, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Paris. Please rise for the invocation and pledge.
Everybody for joining us this evening at the City of Daytona Beach. We all appreciate the fact that you took your time out of the daily schedules to join us as we make some heady decisions. For all who have joined us, feel free to comment, help us as we make our tough decisions for the evening, and to all the commissioners, I hope that we have a fantastically motivated meeting. Thank you.
We're now going to move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the November 1st, 2023 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
So moved.
Okay.
There's a motion from Commissioner Paris and a second from Commissioner May. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. It's time to move on to agenda number 5. If there are any changes, our Deputy City Manager will address them.
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
All right. No changes. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Reed and May in that order. Those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Going to move on to item 7, the administrative items. Our first item, 7A, is the Redevelopment Neighborhood Services Commercial Property Improvement and Professional Design Grant Program.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Angela Armstrong, Redevelopment Project Manager for the Beachside. And tonight, I'm presenting the Commercial Property Improvement and Professional Design Incentive Program. The appearance of the city's redevelopment area commercial district play an important role in creating a positive image of the business district to attract new businesses and encourage business expansion. After determining that most of our after determining that most of our commercial buildings are has suffered from lack of investment or aging facilities, we realized that we needed to make some changes to the current incentive programs that we have. This program that I'm presenting tonight will provide assistance for improving the interior and the exterior of all the commercial buildings to meet code, increase occupancy, and improve building climate. In addition to the commercial property improvement, projects may be eligible for professional design assistance. Both programs in the form of a 0% interest rate forgivable loan after 2 years. So, what does the city currently offer and what is being proposed? What we currently have are commercial facade grant awards up to 50% of the total project cost for facade improvement. The maximum amount of is 5,000 or 10,000 for multiple storefronts. The improvement includes bricks, landscaping, planters, exterior lights, painting, stucco, repairs, pressure cleaning, signs, and awnings. Now, what is being proposed? What we are proposing tonight is award up to 80% of the total project cost for facade and interior improvement. The maximum amount of 50,000 for interior and exterior improvement. And the interior renovations will include, but not limited to, heating, ventilation, air conditioning system, electrical, plumbing, grease traps, kitchen hood, painting, and interior lighting. Exterior renovations, brick, landscaping, painting, stucco, entryways, decorating fencing, exterior lighting, roofing, impact-resistant windows, awning, parking lot improvement, and flood remediation work. But also we'll have design assistance up to 20%, up to 20,000, and this will be a 50% match. As I said, both programs will be in the form of a zero interest forgivable loan after 2 years. So I'm going to give you a brief just explanation on how the program will work, how we are going to administer the grant. Any application over $25,000 for an individual project will require approval for the Community Redevelopment Agency and recommendation for the applicable CRA advisory board. Applicant will proceed with work within 120 days after receiving the building permits. Properties for sale or listed at the time of application are not eligible. This program's funds will be a 2-year 0% interest rate forgivable loan. Project will require a written contract between the CRA and the applicant. The contract also will include provisions for lien on the property for the value of the loan. The property to be improved must not have any delinquent ad valorem taxes, be free of all municipal liens and county liens, judgments, and any encumbrances of any kind. Businesses must remain in operation for at least 2 years after the loan has been awarded. Funding may not be used for design fees alone. Funding for design fees will only be awarded when the grant funding will also be used substantially for exterior property improvement. Conversely, funding may be awarded for exterior property improvement even if no funding from design assistance has been requested. This is just to incentivize, we need to change the way we look in our commercial and residential districts. The Beachside Redevelopment Board on March 13 meeting unanimously voted to recommend approval for this incentive grant. Now, I have a brief disclaimer. The presentation that I did before the advisory board did not include the change because we had the program as a grant. Then we had a meeting with legal and we changed it to be a 0% interest loan for 2 years. So I just wanted to make sure that it's on record that we made those changes.
Yeah, and if I can, the reason why we made those changes is largely because of comments made at the Redevelopment Area Board. A forgivable loan gives us a little bit more security that the property will be used after the money's provided.
Yeah.
And the city will get its money back if the property's sold within that 2-year period.
Yes, correct.
I have a comment. So although you didn't say that then, do they know that now, that it's not a grant, that it's going to be a loan?
Well, I don't have the meeting. I will have the meeting next week.
Okay.
So I'm going to make the update.
All right.
But since I have beachside residents here, I just wanted to make the disclaimer and let them know what happened. Any questions? The money is coming from each CRA trust fund.
It's only the beachside CRA that's,
No, we are extending the program to the 5 CRAs.
so all of us are eligible for that. All of our 5 CRAs can go ahead and dip into this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's the maximum amount in the fund right now? What is the full amount?
Well, we have 2 accounts that we are going to use. We have grant account and project. Each CRA has a different amount. I can look it up
I spoke to Ken, he said 100,000 for each.
for each, yeah,
CRA.
for each CRA.
Yeah, I just read this somewhere.
1,000. You can only do 2 a year, is that what we're saying? Because it gets, how many are we getting a year?
Well, we don't have a stipulation how many grants we can do. We can always do more if we, it will be up to you for the approval. If we can increase our budget. Right now, you can go.
The reason I bring it up is that it's an interesting project. So many people are going to apply, and if it's only going to be 5 people in each area, then it's a little bit, it's a little off-putting. So I'm just curious as to how many people could apply.
Mayor Ken Thomas, Redevelopment Director. We have a significant amount of money in those different accounts. The Main Street, the downtown, over $100,000. We have probably $500,000 in various accounts in each of those CRAs. So if we got 5 applications per CRA, we have the money to facilitate those applications today.
Question. So we have $500,000 roughly out there in CRA. I have to ask the question, why have we not been applying all of it to the CRAs up to date so that we're using it actively? Have we been accumulating it for a reason? Why have we not been using it along the way?
Well, you have to spend it on projects. So we have to generate projects. Like tonight, we have some acquisitions that we're doing. And so various CRAs have different projects, and this is a program, a new program that we're creating to put more money into. So at some point, we're going to be coming before you all with different projects, acquisition, rehabs, housing, commercial property. So it's a matter of us bringing them to you, bringing those projects to you.
And also,
If I might add, before Reed Berger left, I had an argument with him in respect to the incentives because they were not attractive and you didn't have people picking up the incentives to use them because the really way it was structured, it was a disadvantage for a lot of people to even try for it. The program's been changed now to make it attractive where people can actually do the improvements that we hope that they will. And I noticed that in the prior and this newer proposal.
yeah, and the reason why in grants, for example, we still have money is because, as Mr. Morris says, we don't have enough people applying. Because it's a small amount of money, they are required to provide documentation that they pay, pictures, and they are not just interested in applying and do all this work for that amount of money. And if this information is worth to you, for example, I look past from 2022, and on Main Street, we only had 2 grants application that we paid. South Atlantic, 0. MIDTOWN, 3. Downtown is the most that use the funds, and it's because they have historic side, and the grant fund is up to 75,000. So they're using more of our funds. But the rest of the CRAs they are not.
Does that money in each of those CRAs still stay in that CRA when it's spent? It's not interchangeable. It can't be used from South Atlantic to somewhere else. It stays
sir.
there.
It's
And
only,
that's not changing.
No.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Do we have any other questions? Any comments?
Just one. The staff memo on this reads that it's a presentation, but Ms. Armstrong, I think you're actually looking for a vote of approval by the CRA tonight's meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, let's get with the action.
Can we get an exact amount by next meeting, maybe, of how much money is in each CRA fund? Is that possible?
All of the money that's in the CRA fund is not going to be dedicated to this item now. That's not what he's saying. He's saying he has a certain amount of money. I think they want a little more detail in terms of how much you, what might be your cap over a period of time.
Okay.
But how can we help them to move forward?
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, I have businesses waiting for.
That's my point. So you
For
got
this-
businesses waiting for it. Okay.
And of
ahead.
course, I can come back and.
I don't have a problem going ahead and voting for this. I'd just like to know the figures going forward from each CRA.
I don't have a problem voting for it, but I would like the numbers before I vote on it. This is the point.
The next CRA meeting is April 17th. Can can they wait until then? No, they'll have to. Unless someone else is opposed, I can't ask someone to vote on something that they don't have enough information on. I don't think that's really fair. All right, so we'll bring it back April 17th.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just have a question. I read this. Wasn't this in the backup, how much was in each CRA for this? And there was a match for something, and then there wasn't it in there? There you go. On what they're allocating for this?
Well, I included the trust fund, yes. So each CRA trust fund, but I don't,
The trust fund, what you intend to use for the funding, or are you going to, is it a separate line item you're planning on creating for this?
no, we already have a line item for grant.
Using the line item from grants, and you're using it for this purpose?
Yes. What I need to bring you back is how much money we have in that line item, correct? If I understand it correctly.
I had gone over this with Fred and Ken, so I don't know if they still have the information.
Mr. Mayor, we do have the amount of monies for each CRA. We can provide it tonight, or we can provide it on the 17th. It's fine. We can wait until next meeting to get this approved, but we would have created a separate account if this program was created prior to October 1 of last year. But we're just rolling this project out, so we're going to utilize funding from the grant line item and the project line item. And both of those line items have significant amount of revenues in them that we're just going to put together in order to implement this program.
Okay.
I'm working on it, because
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I didn't have that.
Yes.
Hmm? Oh, okay.
this is the data for CRA.
Also, this is.
Okay. I'd rather give her a copy so that she can have a copy. You want to know the amounts? Okay. Okay. All right. So the grant amount currently, right now, in the MIDTOWN is $170,000. That's just in the grant amount. And we have $35,000 in the project account. Yeah, that's 200. And that's just using those two accounts. Yeah, we're just combining those two.
And then we're saying each loan amount, most people are maxed out. They're doing the blink here, it's really, okay. So it's like, okay, so each loan amount is a max of 50,000, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
70 if you include design.
Yes, exactly.
The 20.
Okay. So maybe we can get 3 out of it at maybe 3 at 70, but we're a little shy, but at least 4 if we do 40. But it's going to be under 5, depending on the combinations. People are going to go for the max. So that's about what we're looking at. Okay.
Main Street, you have Main Street.
Did you want the others? Yeah. Okay. So let's look at, that was
Midtown.
Midtown. Let me give you downtown. Downtown, we have in our project accounts, 56,000, and in our grant, we have 115,000. In our Blue Road account, which we have some improvements that we have it, the money is allocated in, because Blue Road is one of our CRAs that we very rarely have any expenditures, but we have over $350,000 there. It's in one of our improvement accounts that we are not going to utilize. Improvement streetscape account.
We're not utilizing.
No.
Utilizing.
No.
So, okay.
Okay. In our South Atlantic account, in our streetscape account, we have $1.5 million.
Okay.
And I think that was it.
Seabreeze?
Main Street.
Main Street.
Main Street?
Okay.
Main Street?
Well, Main Street was 107,000, plus another 83,000.
Okay.
We missed a number.
Okay, you have the numbers? All right, that's,
Thank you. And so are we planning on, obviously notifying the business community about this? I mean, 1.5 million in the beachside CRA is quite a bit. I mean, there's quite a bit that those shops could do in terms of renovation, but there aren't that many shops to begin with there. Oh, okay.
We do something else.
all right.
So now that we have the numbers, are you all comfortable? I'd like to make a motion that we accept this presentation.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We have any questions or comments? Have any comments from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to item 7B. It's a redevelopment and neighborhood services, approval of purchase of contract of vacant property. This is a resolution approving the expenditure of tax increment funds from the MIDTOWN Community Redevelopment Area Trust Fund for the purchase of vacant property located at North HELME Place for a purchase price of $25,000 and providing an effective date.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
And I do have a speaker, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Evelyn Rodriguez.
Oh, Lord.
So I object to this purchase. First of all, it doesn't even say on any backup what it's for. We don't know how much we're going to be spending. In addition to whatever is supposed to be spent, could be 200, 300, whatever. It's 30,000 for just a realtor, where we have, and this is an odd place. It's in a cul-de-sac or something. Anyway, the tax registry didn't even have it when I looked up the parcel number, so I don't know what that's about. But I object where we have lots of vacant lands for sale. We have property that we could buy for affordable housing. Just down here on Orange Avenue, I saw one. On Molly, there's Malay, whatever, there's another one. On the west side, I saw one. I object to that purchase.
That was my only speaker, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. Because this was predated, I was just curious what everyone thought about the Midtown Master Plan that this is like part of. Like, what is the desired outcome of it?
Is this a desired outcome of the Midtown Master Plan
No, like, what is the desired outcome?
of
Like,
purchasing the property?
Yeah. What's the vision? Right.
Okay.
Well, we have this Midtown Master Plan, so
Good question.
I was just,
Mr. Mayor, Ken Thomas, the Midtown Master Plan, of course, you know, was created several years ago to create a town center development at the intersection of ISB and Dr. King Boulevard. And so what staff is doing is taking that master plan and implementing the master plan. So HELME Place, that intersection of ISB and MLK, all the way to Oak Street is properties that we have to acquire. And majority of those properties, after we incrementally get those on HELME, there is the Daytona Beach Housing Authority, which has 6 triplexes in there, duplexes, that we also have to acquire. And we're working with the Daytona Beach Housing Authority to do that as well. So we have many more units that we have to acquire, some single families in there, as well as some vacant properties. And we've gotten 2 commercial properties already. We're working on one right at the intersection, yellow building, I will say.
Insurance company.
Yes, and but if that doesn't work out, we'll just move around and keep going. But the master plan itself says it would be a hotel, it would be mixed-use development, commercial and residential. And so part of the idea of acquiring the Daytona Beach Housing Authority property is you would demolish those properties and rebuild, not just affordable, but it would be market rate with some affordable right in that intersection.
okay.
we have any other
I wanted to hear from the commission too
Okay.
on it. But
Well, it's exactly what he said.
What-
We
what
we
you-
purchased a parcel, I'm sorry, Mr.
Go,
Mayor.
no, you go ahead.
One of the other parcels is actually on MLK on the other side of, is that street pronounced HELME?
HELME, yes.
HELME, on the other side. So we're gradually purchasing those properties so that that vision of the Midtown Plan can come to fruition. Are you
so
familiar with where
to-
this
To
is?
bring like fair market housing, to bring green space, to bring commercial. I'm just trying to get
All of that.
all.
It's going to be a nice entryway at that corner into our city on that major thoroughfare.
Okay.
Right now, there's an insurance company on the corner, and there's a gas station on, but we're not going on that side. We're staying on the
Not
other
right now,
corner,
yeah.
right? Not right now. Like your vision?
Yeah.
But it's going to be something that we'll be pleased with, and it's a part of that plan. It is that plan's vision.
Okay.
I think I was a commissioner when they created the Midtown Master Plan. So that's been a long time ago. And so I think what you're saying is that that's what redevelopment is. It is, the objective is to redevelop the area, and you have a vision, and exactly what you want it to become may or may not come to fruition. But once you assemble all of this, you will be able to say to a potential developer, this is what we have for you to come in and do something with it. And someone asked earlier, why haven't we been doing this with the funds, or why haven't we been doing anything? Well, I think that one of the things we cannot say is that this redevelopment department has been inactive, because they are engaging in actions that the commission talked about a long time ago. So I want to commend you guys for beginning to take steps. Now, they may not end as quickly as we want, but you know, if you don't take steps to begin to acquire the property, we're never going to get to where we want to be. So, and the last question or statement I have is, I think if you want to reimagine or you want to come back with other ideas, there will be a time for us to discuss that. But I like the overall vision and the process of what we're doing.
And let me say, having sat on the Midtown Redevelopment Board, they have been waiting for something for a very long time. And as the mayor said, it may take steps, and we may not even see the whole thing come to fruition while we're sitting up here. But the fact that we're taking those steps, for example, we signed the last piece of paper for Orange Avenue to be done. And the previous mayor was congratulating me. I said, but you all started it. We didn't. He said, but you finished it. So you've got to take step by step to gradually get to where you're trying to go. And there is a need and a desire for this to come to fruition. I can tell you that. Okay, very
See
good.
if I have any other information or ideas I could add.
We welcome them because it might be time for some changes.
And she made a good point about Orange Avenue. Before I was a commissioner, and 20 years before, Orange Avenue was an agenda, a dream. And probably, I would still say to this date, the most important infrastructure investment in Midtown in my lifetime.
Indeed.
Even though people may not acknowledge that, but it probably is. All right, let's move on.
We have a motion and a second.
So
We
moved.
do have
Oh,
a
we do,
motion.
okay.
Do I have a? I did have a motion and second.
Yep.
No public comments. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, going to move on to item 7C. It's a redevelopment and neighborhood services framework downtown development incentive grant agreement resolution. So resolution approving the First Amendment to the framework downtown redevelopment incentive agreement between the city, Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, and Framework Group LLC, approving Framework's assignment of its rights and obligations to 400 Beach QOZB LLC, authorizing administrative approval of future assignments subject to certain conditions, authorizing the mayor as the CRA chair and the city clerk to execute the amendment on behalf of the city upon the effective date hereof, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
All right, do we have speakers? I'm sure we do.
I don't. For this item, I have Jessica Gow here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
What? All right, do we have any questions for Jessica?
No questions, but I like this. It's really just the bank saying they want to make sure it stays what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item 7D. It's the City Manager's Office Second Quarter Fiscal Year 2023-24 Budget Amendment Resolution. A resolution amending the fiscal year 23-24 budget to increase revenues and capital and transfer expenditures and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second.
And I do have a speaker on this item, Mr. Mayor, Mr. John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. I signed up for this because there were no numbers. I'm glad that Ken and Juanita asked for numbers. If you notice, 3 out of the 4 have no numbers. And I remember years ago when we wanted to redo Orange Avenue, and Jim Chisholm went to the Midtown board and said, we want to take your $1 million to go to Orange Avenue. And they said, what $1 million? And he said, oh, you got $1 million in your account. And they had no idea they had it there. So what's happening is they're going to transfer these monies that was not spent, it appears to be, money not spent last year to this year. How much money did we not spend? And why did we not spend it? So what is the amount of money that Beachside had? Because at one point, I think there was like $7 million that had gotten lost. And it just popped up because we needed to spend it. I don't like that there are funds that you're saying you're putting it in this account, but you don't list it for anybody to know that it's there. So one time I asked for some information, and they gave me the wrong information. They gave me the correct information. Jim didn't want that. So I'm saying, oh, by the way, what's this $135,000 for a project manager? We don't have one. You have $48,000 for a property manager? So I went to Reed Berger and he goes, what property manager? I said, well, it's in your budget. It's $148,000. He didn't even know about it. So I don't like the idea of having this money there, but not accounted for. So I would like all the funds that's accumulated in any given year to be accounted for by the penny, not just saying, oh, this amount, this $500,000 is going for City Hall, all the things in City Hall. So if this beachside raises $9, $10, $11 million, and they get to spend $56,000, where's the rest of it? I know $2.4 million goes to debt, but to take $2.4 million out of several millions of dollars, it leaves you millions, not just $56,000. So I would like in the future that these numbers, how much from each CRA is left over, so that we all know exactly what's going on. Thank you.
How is our only speaker on this item, Mr. Mayor?
All right, do we have any additional questions or comments? We had a motion, second, from who was it?
Reed and May.
Okay. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, whoops. That was our final item for the agenda.
All right, do we have any comments or questions from the CRA?
I do, Mayor.
Pardon?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was just curious, maybe we could work on some grant program to try and incentivize like more businesses to come in, like on these CRA areas, like maybe restaurant, nightlife, more cultural events. Would it be possible to do something like that with the CRA money? Maybe to do something like in what we're doing with loans for facades, can we also do something like that for, you know, if you're in business for 2 years, we'll pay your rent or some, I mean.
I think one of the things you have to do, as opposed to just saying that, because I would like to see on MIDTOWN, on Mary McLeod Bethune, next door to what's the restaurant that put the mural up? MIDTOWN Cafe. I would like to see in that next door to that, I'd like to see a pizza establishment, you know, or you know, something. So I agree that some businesses in some locations you want to incentivize, but I think you need to be very specific and hone in on that because we have a lot of commercial development, and success in business is not easy. We incentivized a business down on MLK 15 years ago, and it has gone through 15 different entrepreneurs. So it's not easy just to say we're going to incentivize. It's something you have to have a deep strategy on, and I would recommend a more thorough suggestion personally. But as it relates to using CRAs for entertainment, we certainly could do that. You could certainly have because CRAs the objective of them are to stimulate and revitalize certain areas. It's also to make certain that your residents are having certain cultural experiences and opportunities that they may not be getting. So I actually do like that idea, you know, just right off the rip. But I think when you come with a suggestion, you kind of you need to massage it a little bit and go in detail and maybe talk with staff a little bit and then kind of bring it out.
Well, the reason why I ask is because, for instance, the Ocean Center, that study that they did on what would bring more business to the Ocean Center. So surrounding areas, if we had more restaurant options, more nightlife options, more cultural events, it would also help bring business to the Ocean Center. So that's why I was asking, maybe we could work in partnership or to find a way how we could incentivize those types of businesses which have already been identified in that study, and bring it forward.
Yeah, and to that point, we have to remember we just purchased the property with the objective of creating, you know, sort of a, what was it, the old Corbin?
777 Main.
Yeah.
Do we have an update on that
Main.
by any chance?
So
No?
that's to jump out into another area. I think that is the objective of that is to sort of do what you're suggesting. Right?
Okay.
What was it? What's the address?
777 Main.
777 Main, yeah, that's what it was. So,
Good point. Where are we on that? Like, what is our,
that's not for me to answer, it's for staff to answer.
Thomas, what I do know is that staff is negotiating with the proprietor who submitted on the RFP. And so those negotiations are still on the way,
Okay,
so.
all right.
Do you have any information on the vacant lot on Peninsula? Did we put out a request for proposal on that too?
Not yet, not yet. We have to decide what we're gonna do with that piece of property. There's potential for townhouse development, but then there's also negotiations with the county about building a parking garage. So, or increasing parking and spaces in, on the beach side. So before we make a decision, we want to, leave our options open for the commission to make a decision on what we should do.
All right. Okay, any other comments? All right, that completes our CRA meeting. So this meeting will be adjourned, and we will start our regularly scheduled commission meeting in 5 minutes.